This is Mike, a mall cop who was recently fired after assaulting a negligent father who he confused of being a kidnapper. Mike came home and saw a notice of delinquent payment for his rent. Entering his home, he saw Max, his little sister's babysitter. Currently Mike is battling a custody fight with his Aunt Jane. His Aunt Jane has been battling Mike to get a custody of his sister Abby. He was sent to visit career counselor Steve, who offered him work as a night guard at an abandoned family pizzeria diner. Steve told Mike he barely had work options left for him. Despite his reservations, Mike accepts the offer after social services threaten to take custody of his younger sister Abby. On his first night, Mike falls asleep and has a dream in which he witnesses his brother Garrett's kidnapping and presumed murder by an unknown man. Mike is then confronted by 5 unknown children who allegedly witnessed the kidnapping and fled. Mike awoke from his dream, baffled by the light of his screens. Suddenly a loud music was emanating from the speakers. To stop it, he had to run and turn off the power. When the lights came on, Mike heard a knock at the front door. There, she met Vanessa Shelley, a police officer. Vanessa showed him around the restaurant. All of the lights were turned on to show Mike how beautiful the pizzeria used to be. She showed him the robots, Foxy, Freddy Fazbear, Chica, and Bonnie, and informed him that the facility shut in the 1980s after 5 kids were murdered there. The bodies were never discovered. The next day, Jane hires a group of delinquents, including Max the babysitter, to vandalize the restaurant in order to get Mike fired, allowing her to take custody of Abby. They damaged everything and looted the pizzeria. During the break-in, one of the men discovered Cupcake, another animatronic, inside a storage unit and was attacked by Chica and Cupcake. While the others fled, Bonnie murdered the man in a storage room. When their leader saw the bloodied hand on the door, he fled and was also killed. While Max was curious about what was inside the mascots, she was attacked and murdered. All of the animatronic mascots, including Freddy Fazbear, Chica, Foxy, and Bonnie, came to life and murdered the criminals. Mike was forced to bring Abby to work during his shift because he couldn't reach Max, the babysitter. When they entered the pizzeria, they were surprised to see that it had been vandalized and everything was in disarray. Mike asked Abby to sleep. Mike then cleaned the place, and then fell asleep. While Mike was sleeping, Abby explored the pizzeria and was faced with Freddy Fazbear. Surprised, Abby was awed when she saw Freddy outside the curtains. Mike ran to find Abby after hearing her scream. Mike then saw Abby with the animatronics and tried to fight them off, but then realized that they were just playing with Abby. Abby then introduced Freddy to his brother Mike, who was surprised with what's happening and told his brother that they just wanted to play.
We just want to play.
Mike, Vanessa and Abby then mingled with the animatronics and decided to have fun that night. They built a fort by stacking chairs and the dining tables while Bonnie and Foxy helped out, and they all had a happy time together lying on the ground inside their newly built fort. On the next scene, Vanessa explained to Mike what the animatronics are made of and told him that he has to be careful or he might get hurt. Abby then accidentally got hurt while playing with Bonnie's guitar and passed out. The next morning, Mike had worried about what happened and decided that he is not capable to take care of his sister and decided to give her care to their Aunt Jane. That night, Aunt Jane had to babysit Abby at home while Mike goes off to work. While relaxing on the couch, her Aunt Jane was oblivious that she was about to be murdered that night. Freddy then waited for Abby so she can bring her back to the pizzeria. Mike took his pills again during his shift, hoping to continue his dream of discovering who snatched his younger brother. In his dream, he saw the unknown children and asked if he wanted to change what had happened when his younger brother was kidnapped. Suddenly, the kids began attacking him one by one, injuring him, forcefully scratching his arms and his back. Suddenly, he awoke strapped to a torture chair designed to rip off his face. Luckily he was able to escape and fell to the floor. Looking behind him he saw the dead Max and her boyfriend. He passed out and woke up to see Vanessa treating his wounds. Mike confronted Vanessa about the animatronics and explained that in his dream the animatronics wanted to get Abby. Vanessa was teary-eyed, and tried to explain why they wanted Abby.
They want to make her like them.
Freddy successfully returned Abby to the pizzeria. Chica proceeded to take her to the back room. Walking into the room, Abby couldn't understand what's going on. Chica continued to lead her to a dark room. Mike returned to the pizzeria to save Abby. He spilled a bucket of water on stage, electrocuting Freddy, Bonnie, and Foxy. He dashed to help his sister after hearing her scream. Inside a darkly lit room, Abby expressed her fear and hugged Chica, but Chica picked her up and attempted to attach her to another animatronic body so they could be like her. Mike bolted for the door. He was holding a taser and prepared to fire at Chica. Chica's eyes flickered before falling to the floor. He later fled with his sister. While attempting to flee, something grabbed his leg. He saw Cupcake biting his leg. He screamed for his little sister to hide. Abby ran and hid under a pool of plastic balls. While Mike was looking for Abby, suddenly, a scary yellow rabbit animatronic appeared, spraying Bonnie. He was face to face with Mike. Vanessa came and pointed a gun to spraying Bonnie. The yellow rabbit seemed pleased to see Vanessa and took off his head mask, showing the face of Steve Raglan. It turned out that Steve was Vanessa's father and he dared her to shoot him, thinking that his daughter is too scared like the rest of the animatronics. Abby figured out that the yellow rabbit on the drawings was nice and kind to the animatronics, however it was the opposite. So Abby had to draw a picture of the yellow rabbit killing kids so the animatronics would understand that he murdered them as a child and turned them into bots. The lights went out. Steve paused, looked around, worried, and asked what Abby she had done. Mike hurriedly ran while limping to turn back the lights on, and a spotlight was shown on Abby's drawing so that all of them could see. Once they realized what had happened, the bots gathered angrily, going to Steve. The bots now know that it was Steve who killed them and turned them into bots. They circle around him. Cupcake jumped to Steve and bit his suit, causing damage and created a hole. It can be seen that the suit has malfunctioned and is now stabbing Steve on his abdomen. The animatronics continued watching Steve getting stabbed by his suit, as if they were very satisfied with the torture that Steve was experiencing. While screaming in pain, he put on his head mask on. While laying on the ground, Freddy placed a hook on spraying Bonnie's arm and dragged him to the inner part of the building. Mike, Abby and Vanessa are trying to escape the building while the bots are dragging Steve away. They ran to the exit until they were outside. After everything that happened, they all turned back to their normal lives. Abby improving at school. However, Vanessa was still in the hospital in an unconscious state. Mike still visits her. In the end scene, the blonde-haired boy was seen closing the door to the back room where Steve was hiding. Steve reached out his hand, but the boy continued to shut the door. Please like and subscribe if you liked our video.